what's up everyone? Welcome to Lightforce Academy, Order of the Paladin. I'm the Master of the Order, Master Patrick Tadavosian, and welcome to our guide to gear. This video is going to cover blades. Now, if you're starting out, new to the community, maybe you're about to buy a saber, alright? And then they ask you the question, which blade do you want? Which blade length do you want? What do you want? Right? So many options out there, and I'm going to try to go over some of the basics to help you make your first blade purchase. Alright, so let's get started. Now, when we're talking about blades, these are the blades that attach to your hilt, okay? They will go right into your hilt, just like I have on mine. They go right into the emitter. Usually use some retention screws with an Allen key, and it locks in there. Alright? Now these blades are made out of polycarbonate. It's really strong, and depending on the diameter, the thickness, what you have over here, it'll last you longer, it can take a bigger beating, or it may not. So what kind of blade should you get? Now if you're looking on one of those websites like Ultra Sabers or Saber Forge, and they come up with, do you want a 32, a 36, do you want a mid-grade, a heavy grade, what kind of grade saber do you want? Well, let's go over that. One of the popular blades that we have, one of the more popular blades that are used, is the heavy grade. Now the heavy grade blade is just a thicker walled blade, alright, and it's strong, it's solid, it can take a beating. There are some videos out there where I've straight up seen people hitting trees with their blade, and it just take a long time for them to break. Obviously they will end up breaking at some point, some just take a lot longer. There are even some companies that say that their blades are indestructible, and they show pictures of or videos of cars driving right over them and not breaking them. And that's what we would call a heavy grade. Now, a heavy grade blade is used in certain leagues that have heavy blade combat, and their rule set is geared around the heavy blade. Their gear set is geared around the blade. Because these are a lot stronger, when you hit, it hurts a lot more, so you want stronger armor. If you check out my video that I had about basic gear to get started, you'll see a lot of that gear will not hold up to a heavy grade blade, depending on the rule set. Now, there are some leagues that compete with a heavy grade, and they have a lot more control, where that gear will hold up just fine, as long as they're keeping everyone under control in their power. Okay? So we got the heavy grade blade. Now, if you're going to get a heavy grade blade, and you're going to compete or train with a group that maybe uses mid grades or light grades, it's important to ask the master or the head president, whoever's running that academy, that club, if it's which blade they recommend. All right. Now, if you're just training, if you're working on drills and techniques or following these videos and going over some of the tricks, I recommend always starting off with the heavy grade blade. The heavy grade blade will help you train heavy so that when you switch to a lighter blade, it'll be a lot lighter, a lot easier for you to use. So a heavy grade blade is pretty solid. Now, none of these blades I have here have the diffuser film inside. These blades I got from a company called the Custom Saber Shop. You can get these blades in different sizes, different diameters, and you can read it. It won't technically say heavy or mid, but it'll tell you like the thickness of the different blades. So, the heavy grade blade, alright, this one does not have a diffuser film. So when you light it up, the diffuser film helps it diffuse the light all the way through. It also gives it a little bit more rigidity, a little bit more weight. Just enough, you'll feel it. If you train with these enough, you will feel the difference, okay? It's kind of like me. I'm weird where I can taste the difference in the different waters, alright? I'm all about reverse osmosis water, by the way. None of that natural spring stuff. Anyway, so heavy grade blade. Great to start out. Dueling, you want to be super careful. Make sure you have the proper gear, and that someone there can help you out when you're practicing that duel, because it can hurt, okay? So we got the heavy grade. Now the opposite of the heavy, obviously, is the light grade blade. The light grade blade is a very whippy blade. It bends a lot more. When you have it attached to your hilt and you hit, you will see it bend. You will see it bow. Sometimes if you just go really fast, if you're coming in for a fast strike, the tip will take a while to catch up, to follow. So that could be a disadvantage depending on the way you duel. Especially if you're going two-handed and you're going with these more power, quick attacks. Whether you're striking hard or not, but you're coming in fast with a control, that blade will tend to bend. These blades are, I love all the blades. These blades are a lot of fun for me because they're so light. I like to pretend I'm a musketeer. I love the musketeers, right? So I'll practice a lot of fun drills with that. I like a rapier, using the saber like that. So the light blade is fun. There's an actual whole league that focuses on the light blade. All right, the Lightspeed Saber League, they focus, all their rule set is based around this blade. All right, their rules depending on what you're allowed to strike, how you're allowed to strike. You're not allowed to thrust with this blade in their league, so that's something important. Some leagues use this for their kids classes. It's a little bit safer to use. So this is a good blade to have. You will need some kind of a coupler to use to make it fit most of the standard blades because they are thicker, and this thin blade will not work, so some kind of coupler that'll be able to fit in that hilt. Now, my personal favorite between the two, the light and the heavy, is the mid-grade blade. Now, if you look at the mid-grade blade, it looks identical to the heavy. It just has a thinner wall. The wall thickness is a lot smaller, a lot narrower than the heavy blade. Now, why do I love this? Okay? Now, again, I train heavy, but our league, our rule set for Light Force Academy and Light Force Saber League uses the mid-grade blade. Okay? A lot of heavy grade leagues out there, a lot of big organizations that use the heavy. We have the big one that uses the light. This is the one that we like. Our favorite is the mid. Now, our academy, again, we train all three blades. In class, we train all three blades. We will work on light grade, we will work on heavy grade, and we will work on mid grade. But this is our absolute favorite, our personal favorite. Now, why do I love these blades? Well, these blades in particular give you the speed and the quickness of a light grade blade, but it gives you more of that rigidity as a heavy grade blade. Now, obviously, it's not as rigid as a heavy blade, and it's not as fast or quick as a light grade blade, but it's a really good balance. It's a really good medium, especially if you do not have the diffuser film. So our league, we tell everyone no diffuser film. Now, will that make the blade not last as long? I mean, technically these blades, mid and light, don't last as long as a heavy blade. But again, it actually all depends on you and who you're doing, where you're striking, how hard are you guys hitting. I've seen some people who had a light grade blade last for almost a year, mid grades as well. I have some light grade blades that's over a year actually that we've had them. And I've had some heavies that just got messed up. So it really depends on who you're dueling and what you're doing with it. Alright? But the mid grade blade is a great option for you if you want to duel with some speed, but also with some rigidity. Now, why is the rigidity so important? Well, because if you're going to use a deflect to get in there and come in, that you want that rigidity to help bounce off that other blade and be able to come in and give you enough time to strike. With a lighter blade, the deflect is a lot more difficult because of the bending of the blades. By the time you deflect and come in, that blade can be coming right back at you pretty quick. Alright, so that's why I absolutely love the mid-grade blades. But you're going to have to try them out and find your preference. But again, if you're just starting out and you're not sure what to get, the safest bet you have is start off with the heavy to practice your technique and your skills. Just training. Don't hit anything. Just train all your moves, all your blocks, all your strikes over and over. Your arms are going to get tired. Your core, squeeze your core the whole time. And you're just going to get stronger and faster. And then if you happen to join a league that does mid or does light, there'll be people there that'll let you try theirs out. You can buy them pretty inexpensive. Blades are pretty inexpensive, so you do want to buy actually quite a few of them to have on hand in case they snap. But you'll be able to go down to those lighter blades and feel a huge difference. All right. Sometimes it's like unreal how different it is. But it also is going to help with what your hilt. If your hilt is super heavy and you go light, it'll feel all really off balance. If you have a really light hilt and you have a really heavy blade, it'll feel off balance. But if you have a really lightweight hilt and a lightweight blade, it'll feel really good. Our Paladin Sabers feel amazing with these mid-grades, and they feel just really fun with the light grade. Heavies, it starts to get a little off balance, but it still lets us to do a lot because of the lighter hilt. Alright, and then the tip. The tip is also important here. Now, as you can see, I'm going to show you on my own personal practice blade because it's a shorter blade for indoor use. You see my tip is rounded, like my bald head. Okay? You see that? It's not pointed. They do sell tips pointed, and you'll see them in some of those sites where you're trying to buy a saber, and you're like, ooh, round tip or pointed tip? Well, pointed tip looks a lot more like sabers from the movies, right? I want that one. Now hold on there. If you're going to use it for cosplay, if you're going to use it for demonstration or flow, all right, or just to practice at home on your own, go for it. But know this, almost no company, almost no organization is going to allow you to duel other people or even practice in class with that pointed tip. Our academy does not allow them in our rules, doesn't allow them in our training. But if you're doing flow or demo, then that's okay. But anytime you're practicing with somebody, there's no pointed tips allowed. So safest bet is to go with the rounded tip. Okay? Tips are removable. You can attach them a few different ways. Certain glues will start to wear out the plastic. So, and it's time consuming sometimes, and sometimes you just glue it. You took all that time, you let it cure, you go out there, and all of a sudden it just broke off. All right? It's because it does tend to wear down the polycarbonate depending on glue. So what a lot of people recommend is a heat shrink. I have one actually on my other blade. I don't think you can see it, but there is a heat shrink right here. Okay? Heat shrinking the whole blade is actually awesome. All right? Getting a good heat shrink on that. Some people use it. On this one I have tape. This is packing tape. All right? And what I do here, this one has like a little grid. It's like it's all grid like that. And I'll go over and I'll go over and I'll go around. And that will last you a couple weeks depending on how much you duel. So you do want to change it up every couple of weeks, or at least check on it before you duel, because it'll start to eat away. But this has been our best, easiest thing. Just grab a whole bunch of packing tape in our studio, and then the tip goes fine. We just replace it. Doesn't usually break the actual blade. All right. So there you go. You got your tip options. We have again the heavy. All right. The mid. And then, of course, the light. All right? And again, my recommendation is start off heavy and then go down from there. It's a lot easier than starting off light and going up. All right? All right, you guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave me any comments and questions that you guys have. If you did like this, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time. Keep training.